right, so I got it in my head that I should, but I got it in my head that I would try recording some design ideas and basically make more videos of things that I'm doing, things that are in progress, so that I could show that I do actually do stuff. And I tried it out yesterday and I was really proud of myself. I was here for like an hour plus drawing this out, designing this thing. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna show how to design a little lamb from Quilted Lamb because I like it, and breaking it down. And I had a lot of good things to say about it. I think they were good based on my memory. They were good. Unfortunately, it turns out that there wasn't enough space on my phone, so we'll see how long this goes before it cuts me off, because I deleted a bunch of stuff out of it. Anyway, so what I did yesterday, just a quick recap, since the phone saved none of it. The quick recap is that I have this this plushie that my friend gave me from Cult of the Lamb. I love Cult of the Lamb. I think this thing is adorable. Look at this face. Look at this face. I love this face. So this is what I was using as a reference, and I wanted to make my own crochet plushie out of it. Yeah, so I wanted to design that, and what I came up with, what I did was that using the plushie that I just showed, I did a little itty bitty, very quick sketch of what that looks like, where I was keeping in mind the different shapes, and then I sketched it again in a way where how I would want to see it. So for example, for crochet purposes, I could do mine lying down. That one that I have is a plushie that lies down. But I wanted to do mine sitting up, and in particular, I wanted the legs I wanted it to be able to like sit on a shelf, and if it's sitting on the edge of a shelf, I want the legs to be able to dangle. So I did little itty bitty sketches right there, little thumbnails for what it would look like. I also broke it down in terms of, again, I've done a lot of crochet, so I have an idea of how to do this. I broke it down into the different shapes that would be included in it. So we would have a ball for the head, we would have the basic body here, 4 legs, right? So legs times 4, 2 ears, 2 little itty bitty horns. We need the crown, that would be separate, the bell, and then a red cape with a black border. Did I write with a black border? Oh, this is supposed to be with a black collar. So that would help if I wrote down the right thing, actually. Ha! It's always a chance to improve. So collar, there we go. So a red cape with a black collar, and then it's got this like white line that's going down here. Now, in terms of the actual lamb, one thing that I was talking about yesterday when I did this originally is that the lamb itself is not going to be the challenging part, actually, because the head and the body, which is the bulk of the lamb, those are really simple shapes. The legs and the little arms here, we don't really have to worry about those being different sizes. So, and those are really simple shapes. The ears are like marginally tricky, but not really. So this is honestly a pretty simple shape to make. Where it's gonna get a little bit tricky, I thought, was when I made it. Yeah, there's more. There's more here. I kept going. Where it's gonna get a little bit tricky is gonna be in the cape, if we wanted to make that all crochet. And then I came up with some options for how we could make the cape. We could make this a sort of mixed media sculpture, so it's part crochet with either felt elements or fabric elements, because And then I was looking to see, I spent a lot of time looking to see how many peaks the cape has, right? So we could make it out of felt. What's nice about this, about felt, is that you wouldn't have to worry about a seam. So the edges basically wouldn't fray because it's felt. You don't have to worry about the edges fraying. If you make it out of fabric, then you would have to do like you would have to cut your pieces. So you would have to create your little, or in my case, I would have to create a pattern piece kind of like this, and then cut it on the fold of the fabric so that it is the same on both sides. And I would probably have to cut a couple of pieces. I would have to cut like a black band and a red, and the red portion, and then sew those two together. Then you got to factor in things like seam allowances, and it would be double-sided because you have to worry about having that seam be protected so that it doesn't fray on you, right? So, or I could try to figure out how to crochet it. And what this star is like right here, this is, I was talking about how for a while there, I had gotten a pattern. It was a freebie pattern. I either got it at Michael's or at Crochet or at Joann's when Joann's existed. You know, you're walking around the yarn section and they would have these free patterns, and you can just be like, oh, I can take this, here's a pattern, and here's all the yarn for it. Awesome, right? And you just run off. Anyway, it was a star-shaped blanket. So obviously this is something that has a lot of peaks, but it was built from like this interior circle, and then with strategic increases and decreases, you get these peaks. Now I still have this pattern, so I could conceivably do that. And kind of go look at how they did it and then make something from there, right? I might be doing it in a couple of pieces, but that would be one way to build this. That would be a lot of trial and error, but it's possible. So just want to put it out there. This is, you know, our options are all crochet, not only the lamb, but also his, you know, these other elements where it's like the bell, the cape, etc. Or I could do it in felt, and the nice thing about that is that I can just cut it out. I can just draw the shape on the felt, right? And then cut it out, and it would involve very little sewing. I could conceivably even glue it, although I would much rather sew it. It would look much nicer if I sewed it. Or I could just sew the whole thing. And the thing is that I currently do not have any felt in my stash, but I do have the right shade red fabric. So for me personally, and I am capable of sewing. So for me personally, I could do this. But if you have felt and you don't have fabric, or if you don't know how to sew and you don't have any of this stuff anyway, then, you know, that might be an option for you. Or if you already have, you know, you have all the yarn in all the different colors, that might be an option for you, if this was something that you wanted to crochet as well. I'm just showing what it is that I'm doing and what the thought process was. Let's see what else. I think what I was going to try to do what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try and figure out the actual pattern for the cape off of my star blanket and see if I can make that work. I was still going to be doing it in possibly 2 different pieces. I'm going to be doing a black band and then separately, and then I can go from there and later attach this, this piece. So I'm going to be playing around with that at some point. And then the other thing that I wanted to note is that for the sake of having everything fit the way it's supposed to, the lamb has this bell and he wears right there. And this bell, I figured I could attach to the band first. And then once this whole cape thing is complete, then I can put it around the lamb's neck and then sew those together, right? So I can stitch those together and that would be in place. If that's something that you wanted, for example, if you decide that you want to crochet along with me, if this is something that you decided that you wanted to have be interchangeable, maybe you want to make a different cape at some point, but you want to start with this one, you could always sew on a snap to this and then sew the other side to behind this bell and then snap it in place so that you can just put it on, take it off. You can customize your lamb however you want, which is pretty cool. What else? So yeah, the actual body of the lamb, super easy. Excuse me, I misspoke. Simple. It is simple, not necessarily easy. It is straightforward. You can do it. It's pretty logical the way it gets to it, right? Because not everything that is simple is easy. And then the other thing that's going to be just a little bit complicated, despite its very simple design, a little bit challenging, I should say, is the crown. The crown has a red eye, and I need to pause, excuse me. Roommate situation taken care of. Okay, back to what I was saying. So the crown itself would be a little bit, for such a simple design, it wouldn't necessarily be the easiest thing. And it's this, honestly, it's the two little peaks, the way that it works. This also would involve some trial and error, but it's totally doable. Or at least I want to say that it's totally doable. Now, what I don't want to mess with, and this is why here I have this thing that says options, is the eye. The interior of the eye is red. And if we were to try to math our way into figuring out where we need to do a color change stitch, that is getting to a point where it would end up looking maybe like a little bit pixelated. And I don't want that. I want like a nice smooth eye. I want to know, and it's not so much red that I couldn't, that it warrants buying like a whole new skein of yarn, right? Like, I don't want to deal with that. So I thought this is an option that you could do via felt. And then just cut out the shape and put it on there. Or if you didn't want the pixelated shape, but you do already have red, for example, you could crochet this separately. You just do an oval, right? And make sure that it's, you know, more pointy than round. And we can play around with like, well, this is how you would do it if you decided that you wanted to crochet it instead. And then you would just stitch the eye in the center. You just do a little running stitch and then kind of embroider it in with some, you know, fat black yarn, and you would be fine. So those are some options as well. What else? In terms of other details, eyes, he's got these really cute eyes. I was thinking about those this morning. This is something where you could use polymer clay, I want to say it is. So and that's another thing where you could buy that separately and actually sculpt the eyes, and then I believe you bake those, and after you bake them, you can attach them. I've never messed with that just because I didn't want to go out and get another thing. So I've never actually done that myself. However, if that is something that you're into, a resource that I could point you to is Creepy Cute Crochet. This is a book. I cannot remember the author's name. So if this actually manages to make it onto YouTube, I'll include that, the author in the description. But the title of the book is called Creepy Cute Crochet. And the way that they do their eyes are all like this, and their basic body, they have a pattern in there for the basic body as well. So that's something that you could check out. And if you're checking it out, while I'm all for like giving people, you know, if they made a book, they get paid and all, I'm also a believer in using your local library if you have access to it. So, you know, check to see if they have it, because you might find that all you need is like, hey, how do I do these polymer eyes? And your library could always use some love as well. Okay, so that's basically what happened with this. That's the TLDR. There are some things here that, again, I really wanted to design a lamb, and I wanted to play with crochet and show how simple it can be to design your character or whatever, your little crochet Muppet doll, what have you, your amigurumi. But obviously that video doesn't exist because my phone sucks, or my phone ran out of memory. So, and looking at this, I'm also trying to figure out like, well, how much of this do I want to actually do? Because ideally for myself, I just want to use stuff that I already have. And if I have to go out and get more yarn, more colors, more, you know, more accessories for this thing, felt materials, then I'm not actually doing what I want to do. My thing is I want to use up items that I already have. And I have a lot of white, right? I have a lot of white. I don't necessarily have a lot of red. So, and even the gray of the legs technically are gray. I'm like, whatever. Denim heather color is, it's gray enough. It's fine. So not, you know, but like the red for, I don't have red yarn, so I would probably, and I don't want to go out and buy felt. So I would be doing this, I would buy like the tiniest amount of felt if I wanted to do the crown with a red eye. But I'd rather not have to if I don't need to. So now what? Well, as it turns out, like I said, I have a lot of white and I don't necessarily have these other things. So OG Lamb, not necessarily an option, but Cult of the Lamb is awesome. They released an expansion. It is a paid expansion, and it's called Woolhaven. And Woolhaven is the snow version. It's basically like a winter version and introduces winter. It has new enemies. It has new gameplay features. It's a lot of fun, and much like the original game, it is also stinking adorable. Just stinking adorable. So I thought, okay, well, since I have so much white, why don't I go ahead and try, instead of making the regular lamb, I'll try making a snow lamb. There's basically part of the game has a mini game now where, since there's snow available, your cultist will go around and they'll create snow piles, you know, and then you can come around and play this mini game where you can create little snow lambs. And it's actually pretty fun. Basically, the way that it works is that you have, in terms, I mean, you can look it up. Look it up. If you haven't played Cult of the Lamb, play it. It's so much fun. So you have this pile of snow here, right? And then you have a ball that moves back and forth and you drop it. And then you have to drop the other, like 2 more balls, right? To make like a snowman. And if they're off kilter, your snow lamb will be off kilter. So you might end up, like if you manage to get everything centered really well, you'll have something called a perfect snow lamb. And the perfect snow lamb is adorable, and it's wearing like a little scarf, which I'm looking at a reference right now. So if I stop, it's because also I'm like looking to see what it is that I'm doing. He wears a little scarf. He's got a little, you know, looks a little shaggy. This is not the best sketch ever, but you know, stay with me. Little stick arms, right? Doesn't even have legs. It's a snow critter. I love snow lamb. You can actually bring this guy to life. And then you have another little follower. Go over here. You can bring this guy to life, and then you have a little follower who, again, is made out of snow. They live basically just long enough to just during the winter, and then they melt. So it's pretty funny. They still have the little horns, although they're not necessarily red. They're probably more like sticks. We have a ball for a head, but it's a little squarish. It's like a rounded cube or something. And in terms of the design, just, you know, like if you were making a snowman, I'm from Puerto Rico. I didn't grow up with snow. And I think I've made a snowman once in my life when I was visiting cousins. And it was a sad snowman because when we went to visit them, they were living in Illinois. And when I went to visit, there was no snow. Or there was very little snow. It was more grass than snow. So, yeah, so I'm not as well versed with snow people as some other folks might be. But yeah, you can give it a little nose. You can give it a nose. You can not give it a nose. And then it's got, again, the little body. And it's got two stubby little snow legs, right? And it has still sticks for arms and goes like this. I might actually be really interesting, like, okay, cool, how do I give it stick arms? It's got its little scarf. It does have a bell. Okay, let's do the scarf here. Okay. And that's one possible, oh, and like a little rock here for a belly button because, you know, you always give them the buttons or whatever. So that's one possibility. Another possibility would be, again, same basic idea. We could skip the scarf. It doesn't need the scarf. So we got the eyes here. You can just give a little smile. I believe what it uses for the ears are in the game. It's made to look like leaves. So we still have little sticks for arms. And no crown, but we do have little horns. It's like sticks for horns. Wow, you're so cute. I freaking love this game, you guys. I love it so very much. Okay, make it kind of shaggy. Little button thing there. Oh yeah, I kind of like it having a bell of some kind, but it doesn't necessarily need the bell. So we could just oh, and then one thing that I forgot here is that the eyes are rocks, right? So what's cool about that, I mean, could you make this out of polymer clay? Sure. Do you have to? No. You could even just kind of crochet a bump onto it, sort of embroider a bump onto it, then it would be fine. Speaking of crocheting a bump or, you know, whatever, and it would be fine, since the arms are sticks, we could conceivably, rather than doing like a tube where it's moldable because it's just a little snow person, we would still start with like our ball for a head, right? We don't even need to necessarily, we would want an outline for the face, but we could stitch that on, right? Because the face, unlike with regular lamb where the face is gray, the face on the snow lamb is white. So we could do a stitch on the face after we make the ball to differentiate where the face is. And then we could do a little embroidery stitch for the mouth. And there was a point to this. Where was I going? Oh, so I wasn't going to go into the eyes yet. Right. So we have the head. We have the horns separately. We have the ears, which are separate little pieces. We have the body. We could just do the snow lamb and not give it any legs. And then if you wanted to give it arms, what I was thinking is if I wanted to make this a whole plushie where it's like, it's the snow lamb brought to life, because I wanted to give it little leggies. Then we could do this. We give it little leggies. And then here for the arms, rather than sticking sticks and being like, oh, it needs to be a certain thing, we could just do like a chain stitch, right? So it would be like this basically, where we just make chain, maybe do like 2 rows, right? So it's like 1 row, 2 rows, give it little loops there for the arms, and then just leave it. And so they would be like really loose little noodle arms, but it would have the little fork. So that could be cute. What? Lead, come on. Work with me here. Come on, lead. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking for the arms, because otherwise I would have to go out and get wire or something. It's like, I don't feel like getting wire. I just need the, you know, oh God, the insinuation, I guess, of arms. So that would be pretty easy, and you could basically hook into the body and just stitch it from there, and then just make sure that you do the same length on the other side. So that is one option. Oh, and of course you can crochet very easily and very quickly, I might add, just a little scarf in whatever color you desire, and give it the little scarf. And then however it is that you're, and then at that point decide, it's like, okay, well, are you gonna do the bell as well? Because if you do the bell, then we could attach that to the scarf. Oh my goodness. We could attach the bell to the scarf, and yeah, and then just tie that on, and it would be really cute. So that is one option. Another thing that can happen in this game, which again, cannot stress enough, I freaking love, is, hang on, so our little side view is just like this. It's the lamb ears. It's this. So it'd be sitting on our shelf. It's got a flat butt, and then it's got just like little noodle arms. Oh, that's really cute. So this would be mostly white. I have a lot of white, so I don't have to worry about it. This something greenish, green brownish, faded. That would work. For your little ears, something brownish here for the horns. Doesn't have to be red. Yeah, I might even do this, because I don't know if I have brown, but I have black, so I might even just do like crocheted and black, and we just got some black twigs. Maybe they're burnt, I don't know. Ditto with the horns. I might just give it like black horns and still go with the denim blue, heather gray ears and call it good, right? Because it's snowed on. So there's that. Let me darken a couple of these while I think. So this is do 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 do. And this is basically the design process. It's just stare at the thing that you want to make, figure out the shapes, and then how do those shapes translate into a body. So that's basically what it is. And I like it. I'm gonna stitch that on. Okay. Now let's say for some reason, oof, pop. You could give it a little hat. I'm just seeing like some of the designs here, and I forgot that you could even, if you so desired, give it a little hat. And if you give it a hat, see, it's just the face changing. So you can give it a hat, get its little smile, and then your horns end up coming up more towards the front. And got this, and it's just like a really terrible sketch, but that's okay. Right, let's see. I like that. This is also an opportunity for me to like use up more stuff that I have, because you know, there's the colors that the developers use for their thing, and then there's the colors that I have available. And like, I figured just in world, if they have all these colors available, you can customize them. So it's like the developers might not have shown that. That's no reason that I couldn't, you know, tweak it to make it my own. Especially for something like this where it's not the main character, right? So maybe I'll give it like a matching scarf and hat set, right? So I like that. Do I also want to give it a nose? I could. I feel like I'm gonna probably figure that out when I get there. Right now I'm not moving the nose on the sketch. I think I might stick to no nose lamb. No nose snow lamb. And I still have, okay, I used to crochet for a long time, and I did years and years, and I did like 10 years of just making toys, which is part of the reason why I can just look at a design, especially when it's a character that's as simple as this, and be like, oh yeah, I can make that. I can break it down. I have experience, just like, yeah, because I've made so many basic bodies where it's like, yeah, it's a basic body and then you transpose some features onto it. Awesome, no problem. So I do love this. So I think I'm gonna do that. They have a lot of other variations as well where you could make them derpy. Like if you are not good at that, at the snow game, you can make a really derpy lamb. And it ends up looking kind of funky, because it's like, okay, what were you doing? Were you learning? What were you doing, lamb? Were you learning how to make a snow lamb for the very first time? You're like, things go in places. Kid you not, I'm looking at a reference right now. It can look this derpy. And they can look pretty bad. So if you're like, oh, I don't want to go through all this trouble of like, oh, a little hat and a scarf and making the things like proportional to the body. Look, if you want to make your snow lamb be extra derpy, that's allowed. Whatever you do, if you want to make it lumpy dumpy intentionally, that's fine. Do it with intention. Let's see. Let's just put the whole branch there. I still call this canon. This is still canon lamb. Okay. All right. So these, and you can bring these to life. So if you're just not feeling making something like this. This is what I want to make, but there is a part of me that's like, I kind of want to make something lumpy dumpy, like one of these guys for the for the lols. Just like, why did you, I'm looking at it going, you're so ugly, but it's kind of like a pug, you know, like it's so ugly, it's cute. It's just a little guy and it's trying its best. let's it serves a purpose. This is a learning opportunity, okay? Even if you make something like this where you're like, oh my God, it's awful, don't worry about it. The important thing is, what did you learn? Did you learn something? Because if you learned something, it's not wasted effort. And the beauty of crochet is that if you just absolutely 1000% cannot stand it, you can unravel it. Just frog it, okay? Don't dwell on it too long, just frog it. I started making this scarf way back when, and I was learning to knit. And I made one for my boyfriend at the time. Now he's my husband, he loves the scarf. And then the scarf in question, I was learning to knit, and it was a basket weave scarf. And so I started making one for myself because I liked his so much. But the thing is that the way that the pattern was set, it was very wide, and I'm much, you know, so it worked for my husband, but I'm much smaller than he is. So when I got like halfway through this thing and I would try it on, and I had been feeling like, oh, this might be too wide from the get-go. And then I would try it on and I was like, well, let me actually get further and try more of it before I really decide. And I probably got halfway through this thing before finally I was like, no, this is absolutely not gonna work. And so I had already put many hours into it, and I knew it, like if I just keep going and finish it, I'll have put even more time into it and I won't wear it, and that's worse. So I took it apart, and my mom walked by the room as I started pulling this thing apart, and she was like, oh my God, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm fixing it. Sometimes you have to take it apart to fix it, and then you end up being much more satisfied with the end results. Sometimes you just gotta try again. It's part of the process. So anyway, so that was my spiel, and this is a lamb, and I think I'm gonna make this. I do like the idea of the arms just being like noodly arms rather than sticks. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna do a very simple line and then 2 loops. So it's probably gonna be like crochet a chain, do a loop, attach it, crochet a line, go back this way, do another loop, and like attach it here, and then yeah, and then that's it. Call it good. I guess we'll see when we get there. But this will definitely utilize the materials that I have without me having to go and figure out how to do, you know, the cape, or rather without me having to go out and buy more materials. I might still figure out how to do it, how to do the shape, and create a pattern for it if that's something that you're interested in. If I get enough feedback, if I get feedback saying like, yeah, that sounds really cool. But for my sake, I think I'm gonna start here, do what I want, make a pattern for that, and then, and then come back to this guy and figure out how I would make these and make patterns for those, because I feel like it. So yeah, we'll get there when we get there. I did stuff.